these different systems. But it's getting more and more popular now with, Google has it, Twitter has it, all of these different identity providers are coming into the space that we use every day, not just at work. But, so, to give you an example of how this federated security stuff relates to the real world is something that we all do. We've all traveled here today, right? And we all use the passport. And apart from the people who are born in Latvia, we use our identity that was provided by the country that we come from. So we use a federated system, and we got our credentials, our, let's call it visa, to be here by the country that we're visiting, but we were authenticated by an external identity provider, the country that we come from. We're here as tourists, so that gives us some rights to be in the system. It doesn't give us all rights. There's a difference between being a tourist and being a resident, obviously. Now, myself, I'm Australian, and I live in Norway. And I can go to Norway with my Australian passport. That's okay. They look at my passport, they verify that it's okay, they have a trust relationship with Australia, and I can enter and I can use a limited amount of services in Norway. I can look at the beautiful fjords, beautiful women, drink insanely expensive beer, and go home broke, right? But that is all that I can do in Norway with my Australian passport. But lucky for me, hello governor, I'm also British, which allows me to be in the Euro economic, what's it called? EU? Yeah. Which then gives me more rights. Now I can work, now I can pay taxes. Now the beer is not so expensive, but still. This is locked, obviously. So yeah. But how does this relate to Vigo? Well, in Vigo we need to separate our users from the normal users that can use the parts of the system from the users that can use the sensitive part. Now, bringing back to my example, this would be a tourist versus a full-blown resident, right? A full-blown resident has access to the premium features of the country, and in the Vigo terms, this would be the sensitive part of the system. The single sign-on is so that we can smoothly transition between those two systems without having multiple identities for our users to deal with. Right, lastly, it's actually a customer requirement, so we have to do it. Kind of an important part. Now, how did we implement this? Probably shooting myself a little bit in the foot because it sounds very complicated and lots of black magic and stuff like that, but really, you just decide to use an external SDS, and in our case it's ADFS, but that can be changed at any time as long as the protocols between them are kept standard. We're using WS Federation and SAML 2 at the moment. And on the client side, we're using Windows Identity Foundation. And it's all baked into .NET. We will be migrating to Owen, for those of you who just shuddered when I said Windows Identity Foundation. And that's it. There's no magic. Anyone can do it. Just go to Stack Overflow, Google it, it's standard, there's no magic to it whatsoever. Now, there are some small issues with it. Obviously, there's the keys to the kingdom issue. You have one identity across multiple systems. If that identity is breached, then the breacher has all your accesses to all your systems. But that's a general single sign-on problem. So don't write your email and password on little sticky notes and put them on your screen. Obviously, the login experience isn't exactly optimal. You have to choose your realm. So you get a big list and you have to go, where am I from? Federation Visma.com. Oh, that sounds about right. And I'll use that one. Right? Not exactly the best of experiences. A small problem with ADFS is the login page is probably near impossible to make to look very cool. So that's going to be a bit of an issue. Obviously, if the login server is behind a firewall, like ours is, then you can't do offline development, but I don't think anyone has had a huge issue with it. There are some fallbacks. You can use offline. I just didn't want to accidentally have that code pushed into production because it just keeps me awake at night. And at the moment, there are cross-site request forgery problems because of our cookie authentication, but this will be removed once we go up to Owen. So basically, the takeaway that I wanted to say here is that local security implementations are crap. Don't use them. I don't want to end up on the newspaper because some script kiddie downloaded 4K of tool and broke the system because someone couldn't implement the forms of authentication correctly. So yeah, that's basically it. Thank you.